Avery Bradley pops out free. And away from the ball, JR.
Death is certainly scary no matter who you are. Although we all have to face it at some point, it is shocking when the time arrives for our favorite public figures, and even more when it comes to athletes. The NBA has had plenty of these cases, as there have been several untimely deaths, both inside and outside the court. Sadly, some of these end in the deaths that are still pondered over to this day, like the passing of Drazen Petrovic. Aside from Petrovic's tragic death, the NBA has had its fair share of near-death experiences as well. Here are some of the most famous examples of when NBA stars were almost killed. But before we get into this morbid list, please take 2 seconds and smash that subscribe button. Give us a like and share, and tickle that bell icon. It is only 2 seconds for you in exchange for a lifetime of gratitude from us. The world was shocked back in 2015 when Lamar Odom was found unresponsive in the throes of a massive cocaine overdose. Heartbroken following his split from Khloe Kardashian and in the grips of a cocaine addiction, he checked into the Love Ranch on Saturday, October 10th, 2015, hoping for a weekend of rest. Instead, he embarked on a 4-day drug binge that ended with him unconscious and convulsing on the floor with foam coming out of his mouth on Tuesday, October 13th. The number of days that blended into nights that I've spent with beautiful women and amount of drugs, my getaway weekend would be no different, he wrote of that fateful weekend in his recent autobiography, Darkness to Light. On Tuesday morning, I lay on the floor in my room at the ranch dying. My body was convulsing. The women who kept me company screamed and called 911. He was taken to Sunrise Hospital in Las Vegas, where doctors discovered the enormous extent of the damage and gave him just 4 hours to live. There was an unholy concoction of cocaine, cognac, and cannabis coursing through my veins. My heart stopped twice, Lamar explained. Despite their estrangement, Khloe rushed to his side and halted divorce proceedings to allow her to make medical decisions on his behalf. The reality star maintained a bedside vigil for 3 days, not even leaving the shower and sleeping on hospital chairs pushed together as her husband lay comatose. Odom woke up on October 16th, but was soon in a panic when he realized he couldn't walk or talk. Waking up, I was pulling the tubes out of my throat, he told People magazine, and I was trying to talk, but I couldn't get the words out. That was the scariest part. And not being able to walk. I'm a big athlete, you know. He was eventually transferred to a hospital in Los Angeles where he spent 3 months learning to walk again before being admitted into a rehab facility. And the effects of the strokes and heart seizures are still with him 4 years later. Odom now has extreme trouble with maintaining his balance and coordination. Hard to believe Odom managed to destroy his entire professional career with one night of bad decisions. Damian Lillard. Damian Lillard grew up in Oakland, California, surrounded by many examples of violence and crime. Although Lillard never let himself get dragged into the violence and criminal lifestyle, it nonetheless found him, despite the fact he was never looking for it. Back in 2008, when the current Portland Trail Blazers point guard was waiting for a bus after practice, 3 assailants attacked and robbed him. The superstar didn't back off and tried to fight the robbers, and then one of them even pulled a gun, pointing it directly at Lillard's head. But luckily for everyone, the attacker did not pull the trigger. Lillard refers to the incident in his rap song called Roll Call. Grant Hill. Grant Hill is one of the biggest what-ifs in NBA history, as the former Piston had everything to have, a long and successful run in the league. But unfortunately, Hill was plagued by injuries most of his career, and he never reached the heights of success that the fans expected from him. One incident that happened off the court is by far the one that had the biggest impact on Hill's life and his outlook on it. Back in 2003, during his days with the Orlando Magic, Hill contracted staph infection, which could have easily been fatal for the small forward. The illness was close to finishing his NBA career as well as taking his life. Hill spent 6 months in recovery while taking intravenous antibiotics before he was well enough to hit the court again. Luckily, he would fully recover and go on to play another 9 years before retiring in 2013. Nikola Vucevic. On January 23, 2006, 15-year-old Nikola Vucevic and his father, Borislav, survived a deadly train crash in his native Montenegro that killed 47 and injured 200 after the train's brakes had failed. There were 250 passengers on the train when it derailed. For a crash like that, I was lucky, he said. It's very scary. You don't know if you're going to live or die. It makes you look at life differently, not take things for granted. It makes you think about a lot of things. You try to appreciate life more. There was another basketball player from a different age group who did die in the crash. His coaches didn't allow him or his teammates to attend the funeral because it would cause too much stress. Even so, a lot of the players were permanently scarred and never played at the same levels again. Chris Bosh. After his 2015 calf surgery, a blood clot made its way to Chris Bosh's lungs and blocked an artery. This is a condition known as pulmonary embolism, which took the life of the 52-year-old former Blazers forward Jerome Kersey just days before Bosh himself suffered the same malady. The blockage was only half the problem. It also caused excess liquid to build up in his lungs, making it almost impossible to breathe for the NBA big man. Bosh spent more than a week lying in bed at Baptist Hospital in Miami, listening to the slow drip of fluid leaking from his lungs and wondering if he'd ever be able to play basketball again. Not be able to play, not be able to live, Bosh says. It was that close. It was that serious. He lifts his t-shirt to reveal matching scars on his left side, where 2 tubes entered his body and ran up through his chest, sucking fluid from the pleural space surrounding his lungs. "I don't need any drugs," he mutters, parroting his initial message to the doctor. Then he tilts his head back and howls when he recalls the tubes jabbing at his sides. "Oh God, no, give me the drugs right now." He returned for the 2015-2016 season, but another calf injury resulted in yet another blood clot in his lungs by the All-Star break, and he had to sit out the rest of the season. After missing the whole 2016-2017 season because of complications with the condition, the NBA forced Bosh to retire due to medical issues. The Heat waived him and promised to retire his jersey out of respect after 7 years successfully with the franchise. Nick Young. Eyebrows were raised when Iggy Azalea, Nick Young's girlfriend at the time, tweeted that Young was afraid of dolphins. When reporters asked him to elaborate, he recounted a near-death experience involving a dolphin in Cabo San Lucas, Mexico. He was playing with everybody else, doing what dolphins do, the ack and all that, Young said. It was my time to ride the dolphin. For some reason, he took me to the bottom. He was trying to drown me. But I saw it happening, so I jumped out of the water and took off the little life vest and threw off my little water shoes and stayed outside. Young said the dolphin took others around in circles, but didn't do the same when it was his turn to interact with it. He went straight down, Young said. He was trying to kill me. I think he was trying to get on Iggy. He was a little friendly, kissing her and stuff. He was trying to take my woman. Jay Williams. Jay Williams was the second overall pick for the Bulls in the 2002 NBA draft. Despite inconsistent play and having to share minutes with Jamal Crawford, he showed a lot of promise and even posted a triple-double during his rookie year. Many hoped he would be the player to fill the void after the departure of Michael Jordan, but he would burn those hopes to the ground with a series of really bad decisions. Not only was riding a motorcycle a violation of his NBA contract, but he also made an even worse decision by driving the crotch rocket without a helmet or a license to operate the motor vehicle in the state of Illinois. Of course, karma and fate would have a lesson in store for Williams, as he would end up crashing into a light post on the north side of Chicago, suffering a severed main break and nerve damage to his leg, fractured pelvis, and 3 dislocated ligaments in his left knee, including the ACL. This would put his untimely end to his NBA career, but he was very lucky to walk away from the horrific accident with his life. Which one of these near-death experiences shocks you the most? Be sure to leave your thoughts in the comment section below, and as usual, give us a thumbs up, subscribe, tinker the notification bell, and share this video.